In the studio, not for much longer then. Now, with the dust settling after the election, we can focus on some of the more troubling elements that came from what Labour MP Jess Philips described as a horrible campaign. She secured re-election in her Birmingham Yardley seat, but faced heckles and boos as she gave her acceptance speech. Here's what she had to say after that ordeal.
It was an absolutely horrible campaign, the most aggressive, most intimidatory, not just of me, but of the people in my constituency, people being intimidated, people being told that God will judge them if they vote a certain way, which is an electoral offence. Yeah, it's been pretty awful. Some of my activists had their tyres slashed on election day.
I watched Joe's speech, and this isn't about politics. I don't care which side you support in this one, by the way. This is about
humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about women, mostly, being targeted by men. And what Joe had to say in particular really struck home. And you watched her acceptance speech, and she was heckled by men in the audience. Very, very intimidating. And she's not the only one. Claire, I mean, as a woman and as a person, a human being, it was upsetting.
It was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. But I think we have to look at through the lens of this as well. And I think I'm going to bring in postal voting about this. Some of the postal votes that may have been voted for by some of the women who are married to these men, I don't even want to call them men, who were making comments like that and who really were on the affray of Jess's constituency trail, are appalling. How many of those women might have been coerced into making votes that they didn't want to vote? How many women might not have seen their voting card? That's not me being racist. I'm not being Islamophobic. I'm actually being a realist. And in terms of Tony Blair mentioning things about populism and without regulations, then we get prejudice. Well, I'm sorry, he's right. We need rules in place. We need far and fast rules. We had the murder of Joe Cox, the murder of David Amos. I was lamenting the fact that there was no actual canvassing during this general election, and a lot of people who would have been going into the voting booth not recognising any of the names they were to put across that, notwithstanding the fact that first-time voters might actually have been looking for, where's Keir Starmer's name, where's Rishi Sunak's name, or the rest of them. But this open hatred, this open violation of women is abhorrent.
And to put this in context, it did seem to happen in many of the constituencies with a higher Muslim population.
That's fact.
Absolutely. And sort of Labour actually lost 5 seats to...
And a lot of pro-Palestinian supporters.
Exactly. But Shabana Mahmood in Birmingham Ladywood also described it as a horrible...
Yes, it's appalling. It's dreadful. I mean, you know, when I was knocking around Westminster 300 years ago with the dinosaurs...
They did 250 there.
Oh, you're right, actually. Yes. But, you know, there were the trailblazers, if you like. I mean, you know, people like Shirley Williams, people like Claire Short, people like Barbara Castle, going back even further. You know, and they were people who fought their way into Parliament. They fought their way, you know, in Barbara Castle's case, through the trade unions. They fought their way through terrible, old-fashioned, misogynistic political parties.
They never complained, though, Joe.
No, they didn't complain. And this is a thing where in the past they learnt to have sharp elbows and a knee in the groin at a party conference and that thing. But social media has made it 10 times worse. One of the most compelling concession speeches I heard on election night, I was broadcasting all night, was Bill Wiggins, who's the Tory candidate, was the Tory MP for over 20-something years in Hertfordshire North. Now, he lost to Ellie Chowns, the Green, and he lost a 25,000 majority. But the thing that he said in a very, very gracious concession speech was that she must be allowed to go about her business and deal with the constituency and constituency members of all parties, people who voted, people who didn't vote, people who supported the Greens, who didn't, and he mentioned David Amos and Joe Cox, and I thought that was really fantastic, you know. And unfortunately, I think politics largely, social media and the mainstream media has fueled this divisive, nasty, offensive, take offence, get something out there.
Do you think that's because people are disillusioned and disenfranchised with politics and politicians because they've not been as robust and as legitimate in their claims and the way they've gone about their own, one, personal life and two, professional life, that people are actually just sickened by them?
Well,
and I'm in no way minimising what's happened to Jess here. I mean, in general.
It's part of that, but I think, there is a default position. You asked anybody who works in a shop, who works in a petrol station, who works in a pub or a restaurant, and they will tell you that since COVID, people have become so rude.
Ruder?
Yes,
so
there
offensive.
is that.
I mean, driving is so much more aggressive, and the default position is never to go after you. It's, oh, I've got right of way. You see people, little things, driving, they won't stop to let another car through. Their automatic reaction is to mount
Just
the
very
pavement.
quickly, ladies, how much do you think this has to do with the cultural differences between, in this case, the Muslim community and sort of like, the Western way of living?
Huge. And I would actually like to see an academic essay written about the impact of immigration on democracy. Because this is starting to impact on democracy. These attitudes from predominantly Muslim men in really strong, cuckolded constituencies that are being allowed, to comment on this. But I would rather they actually do it and we can report it than them doing it underhand and we not see it happening. I would rather that we know what we're dealing with.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time on that one, but let us know what you think. It is, as I said, if you watch the Jess Philips clip, is actually online if you want to have a look at it. It's actually very upsetting. If you believe in democracy. Now, I'm Dawn Neeson, and this is GB News Sunday.